I have to say, like, you all had to learn some survival skills for this because y'all was tying knots, y'all was out here hunting down your own food. So, can you tell me a little bit about the preparation for these roles? Because it was very physical.
The knots was a thing. We had like knot tying class.
Yeah, we did.
That's one of the first things we had to learn because we had to be able to tie these knots with our eyes closed, walking around, moving backwards, moving forwards. Like the knot had to be so second nature for us. And it was a very specific knot that we all had to learn. And so that was a little part of what we had to get into in the beginning that connected us as a family, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the knots. I learned how to light a lighter, or like it's like a older form of a lighter, but
The metal stuff, right?
yeah, that I learned how to do that, which was very important.
I had to skin a squirrel.
Yes,
Really did that?
crazy.
Not a real squirrel, but it was something that was just like a real squirrel. The art department put it together, and it was actually, had to peel the skin off the thing like it was a real squirrel, and it had really like blood and sticky stuff in it. It was, ugh. Had to do that. You had to eat a frog.
Delicious.
We had to eat worms and bark, and yeah, we had to get into all that stuff.
Okay, but the bark, it kind of looked like chips. I was like, you know what? Like, I feel like maybe this could be good. I don't know. Y'all was eating it, but then it didn't seem like it was that appetizing. You tried to spice it up a little bit, you know, put like a little syrup on top of it.
We did. We put sap on it. I mean,
Yeah.
you pointedly said, you know, so it'll taste less like a tree. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll put sap on it. But we did. We put sap on it.
I was like, you
It
know
didn't
what?
help it.
Like a survival show, a survival cook show, like how we gonna survive, what food can we cook up real quick, but you
Yeah.
know, I don't know if I would like the bug diet, but I feel like it worked. There's a lot of dark things that you guys have to do in this movie, so I want to know, like, how do you unwind after you're filming some of these things, because it gets very intense in the movie.
We don't. I'm joking. So we do keep our dialogue. So like our accent that we do in the movie, we keep it on like in scene, after scene, when we go home. So like even my dad, he's always checking up on me because like it's actually a southern accent, and my dad, he is southern, so he was helping me out with these words, and he was like, hey AJ, don't get out of character. So like whenever I would, he was like, you're out of character, and I would be like, oh my bad.
How about you?
I would unwind by playing games. I would take my mind off of it. I would listen to music sometimes. Sometimes like just relaxing music will help me get out of that place. And we all hung out a lot. We had a secret handshake in which none of us can remember
I
it.
can't remember now because it was very intricate and involved.
But we had a secret handshake that we would do sometimes, and we always had a connection, and we would help each other get in and out of our characters.
That. But I mean, what was your favorite scene to film? Because you guys carry a lot of the like film. It's a family dynamic. What was your favorite scene that you got to do together?
All of us together, I would say, is the dancing scene in the living room.
Yeah. That was my favorite for sure.
I liked the scene when I showed you guys the camera. Not what happened after that, but the start of that scene. You know, the idea that these boys had never seen a camera. You know, it's moments like that that connected me back to the reality of, oh my God, they were born here. They've never left here. They've only seen what's in this house. And of course, Mama was saving this camera for the right moment, right? And so that was a fun scene for me to play with, realizing that, you know, something that's so passe to us in our movie, these boys had never seen this, and sort of the way they were kind of quizzical about that was a fun scene for me to play. And then it turned dark, but before it got dark, it was light.
It got real dark. But one of the things that I do like about the film is that, you know, typically when you watch films like this, you get hesitant, but like, oh my goodness, there's young boys here. Like, is this going to be a detractor? Are they going to be able to survive? But I like that they actually, your character kind of raised them to protect themselves. Like, they're not needing help. They're there to help. So
Yeah.
how was it playing against that dynamic for this film?
Well, first of all, you need boys like this. You need very talented, professional, rock star young performers to pull this off. And I knew when we were in the early days of casting, if I didn't have formidable scene partners, formidable actors, this movie would never work. It hinges on who these boys are, right? So it was just really a joy because there was nothing that they couldn't do. They took it very seriously, and you know, that's not always easy for young performers to keep their focus and, you know, bring it day after day, especially in this genre. You know, that can be, you know, a very hard thing to do. So they're both very they're both very special, you know, and I got, you know, the joy to be able to perform with them every day, and it was a dream.
Look, that is high level of praise. I want y'all to know this, okay? And you were both fantastic in this movie. I can't wait to see what else you have in store for us in your careers. But I just want to thank all of you for taking time to speak with me. I'm just sending love in like all your ways. I hope you have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank
too.
you. Thank you very much. You too.
You know, one of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie is I like movies where we're kind of thrust into a situation where we then have to figure out, like, is it real? Is it not real? I feel like the fear of not knowing the full truth is what really gets me invested. So I want you to talk about playing on the audience and having them go through this internal debate while watching these events unfold.
That was the key. That was really the center of, and the reason why I wanted to make this movie so much, because when I read the script the first time, for me it was really clear, like the story, I had no doubt about the explanation at the end. But then when I was talking to, you know, the other producers, I was like, oh, they didn't read the same way I did. They had another interpretation, and I thought it was very interesting as a conversation to, in fact, kind of like reach that level of layers where you can make different possibility live together, and that's, I won't tell you which is my interpretation, but I love the fact that people are like talking after the movie, that there is a real conversation. You know, like when we presented the movie the first time to the audience and we saw them like being scared and jumping on their seat and all that stuff, that was great. But the best part was to see them not leaving the theater, was to see them like talking about it, having a conversation, not, you know, like, oh, but yes, they were this and this and this. And it reminded me some, you know, some movies that that I love, like growing up, that were really scary for me, that has a lot of different way of seeing them, something that kind of is getting lost, I feel, in a lot of filmmaking today.
No, I love when I watch a movie that's constantly forcing me to think. It's not like feeding you something, it's constantly making you like analyze what's happening before you. So I love that portion of it. But I mean, also too, I do like when you have a set piece, because this takes place kind of in a general area, but that area is so vast, you don't know how far you can or can't go. So can you talk about having to use this house, but also too this vast woods as a set piece for the movie?
I mean, the forest around and where the evil is waiting for them is kind of like the fourth character. I mean, there is other small characters coming in, and we're not going to spoil anything, but like the forest, it's its own monster. You know, I wanted something that was kind of dead, but very alive in the same time, very lush, very kind of like a shape-shifting, like where you can see things that you're not sure you see them, but they're here, like where a place that kind of remind us like what, like the beyond, you know, like where dead could walk and where the evil could trick you. So once we found that location, we had to build that house, and that was also the most exciting part of the concept of the movie, is that, you know, like you have to be on that rope, because the by opposition to other classical haunted house movie, the house is not the scary part. The house is in fact the place where you're safe as long as you stay in, because the evil cannot get inside the house. And as long as you stay connected to that rope, to that house, you're safe as well. So the forest is the dangerous part. But in fact, what is happening within this family and how the family is getting tension and kind of like betraying each other as we go into the story is bringing the evil inside in a different way.
But I also like how, you know, when you're in situations like this and you have young kids, you almost see the kids as a hindrance. But these kids are a little different. Like, they think for themselves. They had to grow up very differently than other kids have. So can you talk about actually having the kids share a brunt of what is actually happening? They're not people that need to be saved. They're out here trying to help the whole family survive.
It was like very important to find that kind of dynamic between the three of them. And it's very also kind of like they are twin brother, but they're very different. They cannot be more different. One is questioning, the other one is believing. And I think this is also saying so much about a society, like the one that believe and the one that question. And the mother in the middle is the one that's kind of like holding everything together. But as you said, they're not people that you want to rescue. They are like they are surviving. They are like really every day finding ways to find food or not find food, or like getting like safe from the evil and staying on that rope. And we kind of created a world during the shoot where it was actually almost like real for them. They had to learn how to, like fold, tie the rope, carry the rope in the forest. Everything is real. I mean, everything like they were really into that moment. Sometimes it was so real that it became too intense because there is some very dark scene and very kind of scary moment for them. So we had to sometimes stop and say, hey, it's just a movie. Like that's because those are kids. But the most interesting part was the fact that because they are like like 11 when we were shooting, they were kind of also asking very interesting question. They were really like putting themselves into the characters and asking common sense question about why are we doing this? Why do we need to do this? Why is she? Why our mom is like lying to us or not lying to us? Like that whole kind of questioning and interpretation of the script was one of the most interesting part, because I think that translates into their performance becoming so real and kind of emotional at the same time.
No, I love that. Also, too, because they're growing up. This is part of kids don't ask questions all the time. Look, I just want to thank you so much for taking time to speak with me. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And I'm just sending nothing but love and light your way. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.